Hello. Can you hear me right, Levi? Maybe just a
Yep.
thumbs up for the other virtual attendees just to make sure you can hear us okay. Thank you. Probably just give it another minute and then we'll get things started.
Should we do a warm-up poll to get people warmed up? Should we say like,
Yeah.
how do you like noon meetings?
Yeah. I know might be different time zones, right, for other folks, but yeah, for us. Yes, let's do it. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, I think we can get started. Yeah, put it out there, Levi.
All right.
But hi, everyone. Thanks for joining at least the noon Central Time around enhancing sales productivity with Microsoft Copilot. We're definitely excited to show you some basics, some tips and tricks, and some ways that concurrency is using agents within our environment to help make our sales team more productive. Before we get started, nice to meet everyone. I'm Tabitha Frozina. I'm our Director of Sales at Concurrency. I just hit my 7-year anniversary, which is so hard to believe. I'm a mom of 2, a boy and a girl, love all things Wisconsin sports, and would definitely like to connect with all of you. So please feel free to either take my QR code or just message me on LinkedIn. And then I have a co-presenter, Levi, today. So Levi, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm also with the concurrency team based here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A dad of two little girls you can see there. Also a lover of Wisconsin sports, maybe some different teams than Tab, but we won't get into that part. And thank you everyone for playing along with that little warm-up poll. I already see 15 responses, so thanks. We want to make this engaging. We're getting you warmed up. We're going to have fun today.
Awesome. All right. So I know I covered just briefly, but our agenda today, I'm going to hit on the basics and common definition of what is Copilot, and even some specifics around the tools and products that we're going to be using in our examples today. Why sales productivity matters might be basic, but it's a good refresher to really ensure that we're aligned on the business use case, where AI is working for you, and really hit on some this or that good and bad examples that Levi's put together. And then we're going to show you some real world examples. We're going to screen share, show the agents. If we got time, even build an agent with you guys on the call here and have some fun with it. And then next steps on how you can get started with Copilot and some open Q&A. But like Levi said, we want to have fun. This is the lunch session, so feel free to ask questions, post things in the chat, use the Q&A feature, and we can continue to move this forward. All right, so the basics of what is Copilot. So Microsoft Copilot, you guys all know, is an AI-powered assistant designed to help you with a whole bunch of tasks. It leverages advanced AI models like ChatGPT-4 to provide you with different tasks, answers, and that generative AI for information retrieval. So I know we're going to get a poll in here of just who's using Copilot today, what features and tools have you been using, just to get a sense of what maturity level folks are at while we're on the call here. You getting that out, Levi?
Yep. And yeah, just to add something to that, Microsoft, they love to make things fun for us. Some would say confusing, interesting. And so you'll find that Copilot is the common theme across their whole naming convention for AI. So we're going to dive deeper into what that means. Copilot for chat, Copilot for M365, Copilot Studio. Copilot is the common theme across everything.
All right,
See
good.
a bunch of responses coming in. That's awesome.
Like a good mix. All right. Great. So today, the tools in review that we're going to be showing examples and or double clicking into, like Levi said, Copilot's the name of a lot of these, but we're going to talk about the Copilot chat version, which is a free version available, especially if you're already on a Microsoft license agreement. The M365 Copilot, which is that $30 a month per user to help with productivity within your team's SharePoint Outlook environment. And as well as some of the agent discussions with Copilot Studio, which has different features. Some is included in that $30 a month, and then some is in this either pay as you go or $200 when you want an enterprise grade Copilot Studio agent out there. So we'll go through some of these examples. If there's questions on this, we definitely have our Microsoft friends and or we can take it offline. But just wanted to share with you, if we talk about Copilot Chat, M365, and Copilot Studio, those are really the tools in the tool belt that we're going to be talking about in our examples today. Cool. All right. So as we get started on the overall kind of Copilot journey, starting from the top, like from an organization standpoint and looking at why AI, how is it going to help my business achieve the strategic outcomes that we have? Definitely want to talk about just how agents are used and what's the overall governance strategy and how do we want to make this enterprise ready? And then bring it down to the function level, right? How are these business units, what are the things they're doing 1,000 times a week that we can help enhance that function? And then today we're going to talk a lot about, at least in our examples, that individual user. So we're going to have different examples within the spectrum of this, but there are different scenarios, examples of how can I, as an account executive, help my day in the life be better? How can I help the function of the sales department? And then how can I help, at least in my example, concurrency as an organization be better with how we're using agents and creating efficiencies within our department? So just again, some framing slides of examples and scenarios and just how we'd encourage you to look at the functions within Copilot and deployment within your environment. All right, maybe another just trying to get the audience involved. These are kind of the top 10 or the try first. Levi and I've gone back and forth when we've done these sessions of like, should we show some of these examples? But we feel like these are a lot of the try first or kind of basic ones that are out there. But yeah, would love to get a feel from the audience of like, which of these are you using the most already today? I know in Valerie's presentation, a lot of people said to recap the meeting, maybe to just answer some question and answer. But where are you guys using at least some of the Copilot and M365 Copilot features today?
Got to wait for some brave people to interact with us, right? I know there's 50 some of you at least out there. Someone's got. Here we go. We're getting some coming in. Thank you very much.
Transcribe meetings, great. Create a business plan, great, Cora.
Someone's saying all 10. I love it. That's great.
Great. Yeah, I know I've heard a lot of like back and forth, at least on Excel, of how Copilot's helping them in Excel right now. I know, Levi, you were even using it today just to like clean up a spreadsheet or duplicate errors, and that's been really helpful. So it may not be like the moonshot idea or this huge like adding revenue to the business, but just sometimes that time savings, and especially in a sales role, if there can be time to be more productive, you can focus on generating more revenue or being there more for your customers. Meeting, draft an email. Okay, great. Any other examples, Levi, we want to hit on here at least?
I think these are good, and from the chat, it sounds like a lot of you are seeing some positive momentum from these. So a lot of this is kind of building blocks. This is a great starting point. That's why we're starting here as well, and we're going to see maybe what we can add on to that and what we can do even further. But I love the positivity in the chat.
Yes, easy time savings. All right, so going on that, why sales productivity matters, and I hit on it a little bit, right, of like, even though those top 10 might not seem like, really, we got to get you an M365 Copilot to summarize an email or to get something done faster. But like I said, on the sales world, the more efficiencies you can gain, you hope that that can turn in then to creating a better competitive advantage with your customers. How can we get the close rates tighter and more productive? How can we increase the deal size within our clients? how can we really enhance that customer experience? And we're going to have some different examples of maybe when this is done wrong, right? Or where our clients can feel like, oh, yeah, you totally wrote that email with AI. How do you make it more authentic and personal? Because that translates into customer retention and creating more opportunities to get closer and really know your end customer. And then obviously, higher revenue generation, right? Sales is a hard job. It is definitely hard in a down economy and just different challenges that we have against us. So, how can we use AI to help be more productive, get that advantage, and hopefully hit our sales targets and goals? All right. I know you guys keep thinking we're just putting this on you versus us presenting, but wanted to get it of like where specifically though in the sales process, like good on the kind of top 10 list, but are you using it to write emails? Are you building prospecting plans? Are you getting customer research and helping prioritize leveraging Copilot?
Yeah, and maybe let's do a quick reaction poll, thumbs up, thumbs down. You know, is this helping you save time? Yes or no? Or are you seeing good examples of it or not? Just a really quick pulse check. And then I'd love to see in the comments, you know, 2 or 3 great things and maybe 2 or 3 not so great things. So you don't have to use yourself or your organization as an example, but maybe it's something you've seen on LinkedIn. What's that cringy aspect of AI, right? Like give us 2 or 3 of those, ugh, and then give us 2 or 3, yeah, this is amazing, save so much time. So PowerPoint is like a thumbs down. Okay, we got one. Let's try to get at least a couple more. Here we go. So a thumbs up is saving time in assembling things that you have to gather from different pieces, pull a lot of information in, it's fragmented, you're putting it together. So we've got 1 thumbs up, we've got 1 thumbs down. Let's get a couple more of each. I find it hard to believe that no one's had a negative experience with this. Again, don't use yourself. It doesn't happen to us, but something you've seen. So some of the negatives that are coming through are on cost concerns. Let's see, they're coming in fast now. Lag time, too generic. There we go. This is what I was looking for. Yeah, too generic. It's not very useful. There's too much lag time, too much cost. I would add one, maybe governance, right? We're not sure how it's going to work. Those are absolutely some of the downsides of it. And then on the flip side, these positive ones I'm seeing, helping new salespeople, right? So they start new. This is helping them get started. Yeah, some more negatives. Good. See, we want the balance. Give us the good and the bad. There's some images that have abnormalities if you're using generative AI for image creation. Hard time getting details. So I think those are all very normal. That's what we expected. I would be shocked if we weren't seeing those comments.
Well, the punchline is, at least on some of those, like we want to talk about where some of that may be a you problem or an us in this role of how we can better leverage AI. And we just wanted to tee up something fun of like how we can help give you some tips and tricks and real tools to get a better experience out of using Copilot to really enhance. Because even though there are some negatives, we believe there are a lot of positives, but some of that's going to take work. And Levi, right? We talk about that. Like maybe it's not because it's a Copilot problem. It's how we prompted it, what you're looking at, where it's pointing to. So we're excited to share with you some ideas and ways that we've done that to help make it more productive and less negative.
Exactly. It's a lot of times it's the same tool, it's the same technology that we're talking about. It's just each user using it a different way. And sometimes that is our own fault. It's our own learning that we need to learn how to use it in a different way. That's part of what today is about. That's part of what you're trying to do as an organization, is to enable your users to not have it be a you problem, right? And to really get the most out of those tools.
So, and you used Copilot, right, to generate this image. So
yeah, just an
unplug.
example of like a really random time saver though. We're building a slide deck, right? We're going back and forth. We're saying, hey, Levi, do this slide, Tabitha, do this slide. And it's just really quickly, we want to find an image here. Well, I don't know about copyrights. I don't need to go to, Google search for images. Am I going to find the right meme? So I just typed it up into my little Copilot visual creator. This is what I want to do. And really quickly, it gave us this. So don't have to worry about getting it from the wrong source, can quickly plug it in. If we wanted some variations, we could ask Copilot to do that. So just one quick example of, doesn't mean much in and of itself, but in the bigger picture, saving that little bit of time, working a little bit more efficiently.
Great. Thanks for continuing in the chat too.
And I'll just add a little bit more to what we were just saying. So I want you to imagine that in this scenario, in your sales team, in your organization, you have two people with the same background, right? With the same territory, with the same tools that you've given them, the same opportunity, right? And here's some examples of what maybe one's doing and what's the other doing, and let's see if there's a common theme behind this. Like what can we do to make sure everyone's being efficient? So what could possibly happen, right? Of course, the bad things won't happen to us, but what could happen to someone else? So are you sending personalized emails using AI to check the tone, to check the wording, to make sure you're meeting the message? Or are you just taking the context you already work with that you already should know and having AI interface with them, right? I think we would clearly know which one's better, this or that. Like, we don't want to take our personality out of it to someone we already know. But if we're working on something and we want to make sure we're landing the right tone, that's a great way that AI can help us there. So on to the next one, similar thing. Are you just using generic prompts in Copilot chat? So just using it like you would Google, not really giving it any information, not telling it who you are, not telling it who your audience is, just really quickly, hey, this is what I want. Or are you using specifics? Are you talking about your role? Are you talking about your target audience? Are you giving extra information to really do that really good prompt engineering to get the best results? I think in both cases, it's the same person potentially, it's the same tool. It's not Copilot's fault, it's what am I giving it? So I think, again, try to think through those examples of, oh yeah, I could see how that maybe wouldn't work. Then the next one, again, so what, man, AI, we saw this in the chat a little bit, right? My team is resistant. AI it doesn't work. It doesn't save time. Like, I'm just going to do things the old way, right? Especially like PowerPoint. I'm going to give up on it. It's not any good. Or is that a learning moment for me to say, actually, I'm not getting this PowerPoint thing. I see the Copilot button there. What am I missing? Like, what do I need to do to educate myself to actually use it in PowerPoint? Am I using it for the wrong things? Do I need to start from a better template and then build? Like, there's so many little tips that I've even found as I do more, as I experiment, someone gives me these golden nuggets that, oh yeah, that's so easy once I've figured it out. Why wasn't I doing it that way? So again, same person, same tool, just different approach, maybe different mentality, different education, right? That's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to help people. And finally, the bottom one, this is great because it's built into the name, Copilot. I think Microsoft nailed it with that. Are you asking generative AI to be the pilot, right? Are you asking it to just take that task away from you and totally do it? In the future, I think there's automation to be had with AI to do that, but for generative AI, it's not meant to be that. There's still me there. So where we want to be is that's my true co-pilot, right? It's kind of cringy punch, but it is a co-pilot, right? It's there to help me. I'm still driving, I'm still flying the plane, but this is a tool to give me access to more information to make things more efficient. So that's kind of what there. Anything that you'd like to hit on, Tabitha, that I missed there?
No, I think those were some great examples, and I hope I saw some thumbs up and resonating with the group on, like, you're right, maybe these are some different ways to do it.
Yeah, someone made a great point in the comment there about interviews, right? People are using AI to get to a certain stage of interviews. Maybe how do you flesh that out if that's good or bad, right? Are they using it in a bad way, or are they using it in a way that's going to be helpful?
Great. Thanks for hitting on these, Levi. All right. So to get the creative juices, and I think I maybe said it in a different session of, like, as sales leaders and sales professionals, we have to continue to imagine and be a little more creative to the point to help use these, this, and that, to really make it a co-pilot to help us be more productive and efficient. Because we know from Microsoft's research that sellers that are using it are being more productive, are being having more examples to engage with their customers. And I'll share these links with you guys out afterwards, but the Microsoft Scenario Library and the details and examples they put in is a really great asset that I've used to really help understand the individual and then that function role to be more creative, to think about different ideas of like, how can I use Copilot and these agents better to support lead generation, to support customer engagement? How can I help it on negotiating and closing in that post follow up and kind of pull up? And then overall, the sales analysis and forecasting. So there's some really great tools. I don't know if any of you have used this library yet, but we'll be going and double clicking into some of these key scenarios and examples. But wanted to help get that of like, hey, maybe I can use it to write emails and help my prospecting, but have you thought about it on negotiating? I know we've heard some great stories of folks and even our team of taking the meeting recordings. We're doing more meeting recordings. How can you use that to better analyze and prompt it to say, what am I missing? What are the things? What was said 3 weeks ago in a call that maybe I can pull into this one to really make sure I'm getting that competitive advantage, meeting my customer where they're at, but also helping to negotiate and close that deal and just ensure that you're threading all these pieces together. A little bit more and maybe a little redundant on this one of just the email automation, that meeting recap. These have seemed to be really great things, but they're kind of foundational. You need to be doing creating emails, getting the meetings, because a lot of those are core to the data and the information that we need to really create the time savings to create more revenue in a sales process. So definitely on the content suggestions, to customize presentations, prompted on, hey, my audience is going to be these types of individuals with these types of roles. Does my content meet them where they're at and really help to speak their language are really critical portions that we'll be going through.
And if I could add something to that, I think thinking about what you do with that information, right? So I think most of us have seen it so far where just copy those follow-up notes there and send them out exactly as is, right? That's probably the minimum. That's maybe more so I'm letting Copilot doing the driving, right? I'm not really taking any of my own thought analysis. I'm just copying it and sending it. Versus maybe one level up, which Tab said is, hey, I'm taking that and then I'm going one step further. I'm either putting it into another agent or another generative AI to do something with it, or I'm reading through it and knowing which are the top two things and calling those out, or I'm adding some color. So I would just think about that. If you're just taking copy paste exactly what you see there, that's probably standard. Everyone's doing that. Are you going the next step? Are you actually flying the plane and using that to help you?
Great call out. All right, so let's go through some of those specifics because like Levi said, like, are you driving the plane? Are you being disciplined? Are you working through different scenarios? This is what I mentioned in that Ask the Scenario guide. It's giving you your fitness plan, your workout plan on different ways that you can practice that muscle and drive it through. On this one is to help with customer research. And this is in that Copilot chat, the free version, and we'll show an example of this, of step-by-step guides of how you can do this. So I don't know if some of you already have dedicated time to prompt or to work on it, but this is what I've done of, hey, give me an example of how I can do it, and then I'm going to go in and play with it with my own data and my own environment, with my own customers to really help it. So it says, hey, first go into Copilot chat and draft a customer outreach, ask it to do that, and make sure your prompt, and it even gives you a sample prompt on how to do that, and then move it to the next stage, and then help you prepare for that customer conversation, help you create that presentation, maybe give some examples of objective handling, and then prepare for the cold calls. So fundamental things in the sales process that as salespeople that have been doing this for a while, you just know it off the top of your head. But also there could be some assistance in that to make it, as well as maybe new employees or new train, and how can you level up the experienced people that have it in their head, but set the bar for some new employees on ways that they can use these tools to be more productive faster. The other example here is on that post sale of a customer insight. And this one has a little bit of that workout schedule going from taking the the Teams meeting recap and getting that feedback analysis, taking that information, putting it into Copilot chat, then taking it into Outlook and using the email, threading it back to Copilot chat. And it maybe seems like, oh, you're moving this all around, but these are, will all be seamless and continue to help you reinforce and have the different tool sets thread together to really bring a differentiator versus what Levi had mentioned. If you're just doing the Copilot chat in Teams and sending it out, cool, anyone can do that. But you might really enhance your customer engagement, really enhance your customer or competitive advantage by threading the different tools together and practicing and getting the motions of using the different features and capabilities and what you like and don't like out of each of these. So definitely encourage building a workout plan with the scenario library, or even build some of your own. If you already have, sales teams already have a lot of processes and methodology, right? Take out that part and say, which of these can I use to maximize the tool set or where your investments already are. All right, I'm going to tee up. So Copilot is the UI for AI, and we've talked a lot about agents. And within M365 Copilot, there's the ability to build agents yourself, and really in this low code, no code. And we on the sales team here have built it, so you don't need to be super technical and these step-by-step guides. So I'm going to transition to Levi. He's going to share his screen and give you some real examples of agents that we've been using internally to help get your creative juices going.
Great. Let's get my screen pulled up here. Okay. So, it's pulling through. All right. Let me know once you can see the screen. Yeah, okay, we can see the screen. Great. So you'll see me looking back and forth. I got two screens here, and I'll just say, as someone doing a live demo presentation here, the best thing that could happen is you have a bunch of questions, right? So I would love it if Tab is constantly stopping me to say, we're getting all these questions coming in. This is so interesting. Stop here, stop here. But before I do that, just to tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk through Copilot, right? And I'll explain everything that I'm doing as we go. So to start, we talk a lot about Copilot Chat. Copilot Chat is kind of that free, that's that Chat GPT-like interface that you get with any Office 365 license. So how do we get to it first off? If you're in your browser, you see the little Copilot button here, you pop that open. This is free Copilot Chat. And the big reason you should be using this, the big thing you should notice is this green check mark, enterprise data protection. So what does that do? That just keeps your data safe. That keeps all the searches in your organization. Nothing leaves your organization to train the model. So rather than having users pull out their cell phone, pull out their credit card to buy a personal, license for anything, get them on enterprise data protection for Copilot Chat and start using just the regular chat there. So the next thing you'll notice from Copilot Chat is that I have this little toggle on the top that says work and web. That's because I, as a user, have the $30 a month license for the M365 Copilot. So if I switch to that, web is just searching the internet using chat there. Work would be searching internal documents, would be searching anything that we have internally that allows me to use it across Teams, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. I'm not going to go into that button quite yet because then you'd see all of those documents of mine. I'll show you more later, but just know that's the toggle there. So if you're not seeing the toggle, it's probably because you don't have that extra license, and that's something we'll get into a little bit later. So I'll pause for a second, and I'm going to pull up the next thing unless there was something I need to stop for in the chat.
Not yet. Thanks, Cora, for adding that, the differentiator and the details. Thank you.
So the next level, and for me, I don't really like to use it in the browser. I think that's a little clunky. I don't like to have, I'm not the type of person who loves to have 50 tabs open. I just don't like it in my browser. So how can we get a little bit better? Look for the Copilot button in Teams. So Teams, most users are power users in Teams, right? You got your calls, your meetings, your chats, your calendar, everything's flowing through Teams. So why not just put the Copilot button inside of Teams, and then I can get everything done the same way, right? I have my web and my work, everything I can do. It's now all in Teams. It's just a little bit more corporate, if you will, right? It's a little bit more integrated into my workflow. But I don't like that either because then I can't flip between my messages and my Copilot. And it's just kind of confusing. So how can we go one step further? There's a Copilot app. So if you can kind of see on the bottom of my screen, and if you know, use the search bar, you just look for Copilot as an app, you can pin that to the taskbar. And actually your organization can just do this blanket for all users if you really want to encourage it. But if not, just verbalize it. Hey, pin the Copilot app to your taskbar. And so now I know whenever I want to use Copilot, whatever version of it, the work, the web, any piece of it, I just go straight to my Copilot app and I don't have to mess around with different tabs. I have multiple screens. I can just leave my tab or my Copilot app open and I always go to that. So that's where I'm going to talk through some of the next steps. We've worked our way up from free Copilot chat into potentially using it within Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, etc., into pinning it to the taskbar. And now we're going to go a little bit further into agents. Okay, so we've got my work web here. We've also got agents in the corner. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you what this agent looks like. This is something that I just built, so you don't have to be a technical expert to build it, and then explain why. When you think about agents, even though that's a huge buzzword, everything is agentic AI right now, just think of it as a repeatable action that's going to save you time. So in this case, something I do a lot is look up customers, right? I'm going to do research either right before a call or I know I'm going to get a prospect, whatever it might be. I want to quickly do research. And a lot of that research is the same thing every time. So as an example, I really like the water bottle Awala, right? So I might not know anything about it other than I just know that's a water bottle I like. And hey, tab said go prospect brands you like. So I'm going to go after Awala. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to type it in here. We'll do this together in real time. And what we built on the back end of the agent, and this is the part that is saving me time, is all the questions I might want to know about it. So first thing I might want to know is like, well, what do they actually do? Do they just do water bottles or do they do something else, right? Give me a company overview. Are they public or are they private? If they're public, what's their stock price? How are they doing? Are they hurt by the tariffs? Like how are they? What's in the news, right? When have they been posted about in the news? What is that date? I don't want something that's 6 months old. I want something that's recent. Where are they based? Okay, they're in Utah. Good to know. I'm in Milwaukee. Maybe that doesn't make sense. Maybe they don't want to work with someone in the Midwest. Do they have any openings right now? That could be interesting. Like, what are their current openings? What's their core values? It's good to know more about the company that I'm going to talk to. So all of these things came up very quickly, and you can do it right before the call or whenever you need to do research to basically save myself time. So instead of just going into Copilot and doing all these searches separately, I've done it just quickly here. So should I do one more customer search? You want to give me a name tab to do a company? I was gonna say your favorite. Give me your favorite coffee place, and I'll look them up. Yeah, I'm mute, but I think I know what it is.
Yeah, I'm just a Starbucks
Oh, I
girly. I
thought you were
switched it up with
Duncan.
Dunkin'. Well, today I
Okay.
was Dunkin', but
Okay. Well, we'll pretend that was your answer because I thought that's what you're gonna say. So again, like maybe maybe I'm gonna prospect them, right? And again, this is just really quickly saving me a lot of time. Instead of having to go look them up, look up their stock price, what's their trend, what's their location, business summary, I've got all of that coming really quickly. And so now what I want to do is take you behind the scenes. Someone put NVIDIA in the chat. I love it. Yeah. Take you behind the scenes of how I did that, right? So again, this is just an agent that I built. And if you go to create an agent, you'll kind of see a little bit more what we were talking about. So if you remember when we said Copilot, there was Copilot Chat, there was Copilot for M365, there was Copilot Studio. And even within Copilot Studio, there was a couple ways to license, pay as you go. There was a $200 a month. There was other things. So what I'm using here is with my Copilot license that I have as a user, I'm able to create agents in Copilot Studio. And if you go to customer research here, I'll kind of show you what I did. You can start by just describing what you want. So you can chat with it. This is the agent I'd like to build. And then in configure, you can go give it all the instructions. So this is the part that takes a little bit of time that you want to be really detailed, and you can type up to 8,000 characters here, and you can just go through and give it a bunch of bullet points of this is everything I want to see. This is how I want to see it. Present it back to me in this format. Do this, don't do that. Be as descriptive as you can, right? This is your prompt. This is your chance to be really specific. And you can pull in all of those things. And then as you go down, where do I want the AI to pull its information from? Do I want it to search all websites, the web, clip this toggle on, or do I want that turned off? And do I only want it pointed to one website that I know I can trust, or an internal document, maybe a SharePoint library? Like, where do I want to point this information? And I'll show you an example maybe later of something pointed to something internally. That's what's going to help you limit the results and make it as efficient as possible. And so what are my starter prompts? What do I want to do? This is kind of the whole behind the scenes of how we built this agent. I'm going to stop it there and switch to another agent. Anything that came up that I was going too fast in the chat or anything like that? I don't see anything okay. Let's go to another agent then. So again, these are agents that I've just created. And once I create them, I can share them with my team so other people can use them. But let's do this sales manager report agent. So this is something where, hey, as a user, as a salesperson, I'm really familiar with my pipeline, with all the deals. And as you go up the chain, maybe the manager or the manager's manager, they just want a quick summarized version. So this is something we built to just say, hey, really quickly, you can see the options here. You know, what deals are closing this week, or what are the 5 largest deals that we have? And so I'll click on this. Don't worry, it's not real data. We used Copilot to generate some fake data here that you'll see. But basically, just really quickly in a pinch, without going into CRM, without going into anything, give me the top deals. And you can see all the fields that we wanted to see. We built this into the back end, what we want to see. Okay, here's our top 5 deals. Here's the names, fake names, of course. But here's the revenue. Here's all the things that a manager might want to see really quickly. And they'll obviously be updated as we go, right? So you could see some of the other options there. What are deals for a certain practice that you have, right? A specific type of deal. Which deals are closing this week, which have activity scheduled for the next week. All of these things, which can kind of just show you quickly what type of view a manager might want to see. And I know, Tab, this was one that you specifically liked to see because it could save time up the chain, right? As people are asking for quick pipeline visibility, this is a quick way to share with them. So how we created that, if you go back into my agents, again, this is Copilot Studio, you can see Sales Manager Report. If we click into it, instead of pointing to the internet, because I don't want to point to the internet, I want it only pointed to our concurrency sales data. I had 2 options for that. I could connect it to Dynamics, to our CRM, or in this case, which was best for this example, to control the data I'm showing with you, I just exported a list of ops, and I'm only asking it to search that one document there. So the only information I'm ever going to get is the document I've pointed it to. If I want to keep that going, I can update that document every day, every week, whatever I need to do to make sure that that agent is only pulling information from there. So again, I used some example data, but that's just a good thing to think of is why would I use agents? What are agents useful for? Agents are useful for saving time. Something that you need to quickly go to a certain data set or something that you do every day, you're going to want to enable your users to make agents that way. I can go to one more topic here. Anything on the agents that the users in the chat or maybe the Q&A, anything that we need to do for agents before I move on? Let's see. I see.
Yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead.
just checking with Guillermo's, like he was asking on, like, is there a limitation of the types of documents. And I know you just went through that example, so I'm hoping that got answered for you of just the amount of documents you can tie to it, and the types that are in there.
And that's a good point to stop and say, the sky's the limit with what you can build if we're talking about the Microsoft stack and every Copilot in scope, right? If you're looking at, well, I saw on Levi's screen that it was Copilot Studio, that it was referencing 20 documents. That's to do it the way that I did it, which is the non-technical way to just go build, click on a couple things and build it that way. There's other ways to build agents using Power Apps, using the full Copilot Studio, using other methods. And so I think if you're thinking what's possible, the answer is usually anything's possible. It's just how are you going to get there? Are you going to do it via this version of Copilot or that version of Copilot? I know that's a hard part to navigate, but it just kind of gives a little color to there's a lot of different ways to go about doing it.
Yeah, I know in some of our closing side, we're definitely going to talk about governance, but some of these connecting to data sources and documents, it's all around to what you have access to as an individual user. So sometimes connecting to other sources or making it like that, that's some of the key questions then too, whether what tool you're using to build it, but also what the governance structure, the policy, who has access to what questions are you trying to answer? Those are all things that may make it more complex, but also make sure it's safe and your users can use it effectively based on the information and the questions you want it to get answered to. But what we're showing you is, yeah, maybe some basic agents, but it's with information and access that us as individual users have access to share and get that concurrency is already made safe for then our sales team.
How much more time should I take in this portion tab? I could go a couple more minutes, or I could
Yeah,
wrap
I think
things
a
up.
couple more minutes.
Okay.
Please. Yep.
Sure. So a couple other things I want to point out. Visual Creator. If you haven't already used this, again, I used it to save time yesterday. This is the portion of Microsoft's generative AI to actually make images. So you can kind of see examples there. You can use that for your slides and do whatever. I want to show the next thing. Just I'm not going to go into creating all these things, but if you think about like, how do I use Copilot in Word, PowerPoint, Excel, etc., as I'm thinking about paying that $30 a month for my users to have that license. I want to show you a couple of things. So if you're looking at a new Word document, really quickly, and maybe you're not sure, do I have Copilot for Word or not? If you see this button anywhere, that's your Copilot button. And if I'm looking at Word, there's really two quick and easy ways to start building with Copilot. And maybe depending on your preference, you use either way. You could open up this sidebar on the right, use Copilot, and it's going to give you some ideas. You can type with it. You can start building that way. Or you see the little Copilot icon here. You can click there and start building with Copilot that way. So as you're going to see through all these examples, there's multiple ways to get into Copilot. And this is where some of that education needs to take place of how am I using it most efficiently? How am I giving it the right prompts? How am I building things that save me time rather than just saying, oh, this doesn't work. I used it once and it doesn't work. Same thing if I go into PowerPoint, right? Here's Copilot, opens up on the side. It's going to give me a list of options of what I want to do. I open it up here. It's going to say, do you want to create a new presentation? Do you want to create it from a certain file? And the cool thing about that is if you use backslash, it's going to pull in any of your files. So anytime you're in Copilot, if you're not already using backslash, use backslash, this little thing right here, to pull in either a person's name or a file or any document that you're working on. So I wanted to quickly show Word and PowerPoint because those are two highly used tools, part of the Microsoft suite that app is going to give you access to. And the other one that maybe is like, oh, I never thought of that, is forms. So if you think about forms, it's like, oh yeah, we do need to create something really quickly. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to use forms, but I do know how to use Copilot, and Copilot can tell me how to use forms. And I was just on a call with someone yesterday who said, yeah, you know, forms is easy, but it takes me about an hour to just go through, select every option, type in the answers, do this. Instead of doing that, I told Copilot what I wanted to do. I told Copilot to put it in a version that I could copy paste into Forms. I copy pasted that. I pasted it here into Forms, and it was done in a minute and a half. And so I think that's the type of thing like, wow, now we're really talking about time savings. It wasn't that I just said, hey, Copilot, build something for me and just let it drive itself. I was still driving, right? I'm still the pilot. I'm still in control. I knew where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to go to Forms, and I told it specifically what to do. So I think, even though I'm not typing data in, I'm just trying to give you an example of when you see Copilot, there's different ways to get into it, and there's different ways to be thoughtful about how you use it. Maybe that's where I should stop and flip back to the other presentation.
Yes. So yeah, closing items to consider. Thanks, Levi, for going through that, and thanks for the conversation in the chat. Um, yeah, do you want to hit on some of these items,
Yes,
Levi?
yes. So I think the theme that hopefully you're hearing from me time and time again is like generative AI is giving you as a user or all the users in your organization access to information like never before. How are you using that, right? And this is just remember, look for times in your day to build that in. It's an exercise like Tab called it, right? It's a habit. Um, do those things, build on them little by little. That's where you're going to really see the incremental gains that we've listed there. One I want you to try right now, like do it live with me, try it at home. I know you've got some version of Copilot there. Is like, this is how interesting the prompts are. Just type in why is the sky blue, right? You're going to get some random answer. Maybe it's going to be hard to understand. Who knows, right? I've tried it before. It's like, I don't even know what this is saying. Well, try it again and say, I'm a third grade teacher. Help me explain to my third graders why is the sky blue? And you're going to get some version of an answer that talks about painting with colors and gives you some analogy. You're like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. Like, oh, I probably learned that back in third grade. That's why the sky is blue. And then try it again. Try it one more time while we're talking here and say, I am a professor at an Ivy League school. I have a class full of graduate students. How should I explain to them why is the sky blue? And then you're going to get this really detailed response with like 12 bullet points that I can't even attempt to summarize what it is. And you say, wow, effectively, I was doing the same thing. I was asking why is the sky blue, but I was giving it a better prompt. And so that's what you always just have to do. Tell it who you are first. I'm this. Tell it who your audience is. I'm working with this. And those two little tips will really help you hone in on your prompts. At the end of the day, you are in control. It's a you problem, right? I say this, it's a me problem. I'm not getting it. I'm doing it wrong. Or I give my coworkers a hard time. It's a you problem. You're doing it wrong. But use that in a fun way, right? It's not the tool's fault. It's not AI's fault. It's how you're using it. And then just think about governance, think about all of this. The same tool used differently will give different results, right? That's the clear example time and time again. As an organization, if you set up the right guardrails, the right governance for your users to use it safely, to empower them to take risks safely, right, within the data and everything, that's where you're going to really see the good results. So same tool, just different results.
Awesome. Thanks, Levi. And I know we're getting close to time, but to wrap it up, please, yeah, Amy put the link to the feedback. We'd love your feedback on there and definitely on our session and some things that you might be interested in or want to catch up with. And then please join the 1:00 session on building your first Copilot studio. I think some of the technical questions will definitely be answered in that session. But how we can help. If you're looking for Copilot adoption and how to get the momentum within your business, we have great experts and expertise on how to accelerate that journey. That anatomy of an agent, right? Getting Copilot Studio, getting that muscle built within your organization is also an area Concurrency can help with. If you need that really from the executive team on why and where AI can help grow your business, we'd love to set up an envisioning session. And then also these topics and these tips that we're sharing today, we have the content, so we'd love to bring that event to you. So please fill out the feedback. Amy's going to be giving away a great prize at the end of the day, so I'd love for one of you to get that. And then last but not least, thank you so much. We'll have reference guides and links, the information that we shared today, but thank you, Levi, for presenting with me, and I hope you guys learned some good tips and tricks.
Yep, thanks, everyone, for sticking with us.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.